Welcome to Happy Money and Other Bad Ideas, the anti-hustle podcast for rebel women in business who are done playing by the rules. I'm your host, Brooke Norland, sustainable digital business designer, anti-coach, and founder of the Spicy Brain Business Lab. Around here, we believe the best business moves never make the guru playbook. So if you're ready to burn the formulas, build a business that feels like you, and make money that actually makes you happy, you're in the right place. And hey, if you want more support bringing your own so-called bad ideas to life, come join me inside the Spicy Brain Business Lab. It's where we turn your ideas into sustainable, profitable business, and we do it your way. Let's get into today's episode. Today, I really want to define what a bad idea is in the context of my brand specifically, but also just what it means in business. I want to normalize breaking the norm, and I want to show that bad is often code for different. And I really want to talk about why that's okay and why it's really a good thing for us to talk about in business. And that's what we're going to do today. Okay? Okay. Most of the business moves that I've made, someone has either directly told me or has indicated in some sort of way, whether it be body language or just disapproving glares, that it was a bad idea, like a really bad idea. The biggest one being when I decided to leave corporate America and start working from home and doing my own thing from my house. Most people thought I was crazy, and that was a terrible idea, a really bad idea. And if I would have listened to all those outside voices, I wouldn't be on this podcast today. I wouldn't be working from home. I wouldn't have the things that I have created for myself through my own business now. So I'm really glad I didn't listen when someone told me that it was a bad idea. But I also like these outside voices. They're always going to be there, right? I like to think of them as fear dressed up as logic, right? Outside voices they're afraid for you. They're afraid that this isn't going to work. They're afraid that your bad idea is going to fail. And they care for you most of the time. They're there caring for you. And it's a limited belief that they have for the world that, we have to do a 9-to-5 job, that we have to make money a specific way, a certain way to make, to be safe. And it's not their fault, it's societal norms, right? But you and me, we think differently. We think outside the box. We know that different things are possible. We might not have been told that our whole lives. We might have been told we've had a lot of bad ideas throughout our whole life and made to believe the fear over the possibility. But we know better. We really, really do. But sometimes those outside voices can really get into our own heads too, right? And they can become the logic that we hear, the quote unquote logic. Because when someone says to you, this is a really bad idea, Brooke, I'm really worried that you're going to you're going to be throwing away a good, safe job. And that's logical, right? That's logical for them to think that, because we've been conditioned to believe that a good, safe job is sitting at a desk from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock every day with our 30-minute lunch break. And we've been conditioned to think that's safe. Nothing's safe. That's the first thing we need to talk about. Nothing is safe. Corporate America is not safe. The job that you have today, that you're sitting at today and you're listening to this podcast at today, it's not necessarily safe. None of it's safe. So you might as well be happy. That's where my logic comes in. So I want to talk today about why these bad ideas are actually often the smartest and the most profitable and the most freeing moves that you can possibly make. All right. So let's talk about what a bad idea is. Let's define this bad idea today. It's not reckless and it's not thoughtless. A bad idea is just anything that goes against what's considered normal and acceptable. It's something that the rules that were set by coaches and gurus and experts and humanity itself don't deem normal. A bad idea also goes against that path that you thought you had to take, the path that is laid out for you by, everybody else in the world. It's that path of, the one that I took, for instance, was let's get a job, Let's climb the ladder at said job. Let's get as high as we can. And if we can't go as high as we want to, then we'll get a new job. And when we get to that new job, we climb the ladder again and we get to as high as we can there until we're happy. We keep climbing until we're happy and finding the level of income that will make us happy. That's the path I thought I had to take. And I can guarantee you that happiness was not at the top of where I was going. Just burnout, sadness, and anxiety, panic attacks underneath my desk. So a bad idea to leave that kind of life and start a new one, doing something on your own, isn't necessarily bad. It just means different. It just means different from what someone else might do, different from what you thought you might do, different from what society deems acceptable or normal. That's all a bad idea is. And the bad idea pops into your head and you know it's a bad idea by definition, not necessarily a bad idea, a different idea, because you feel in your heart of hearts that it's a good idea for a split second and you're excited and you can see this happening, whether it be for a split second or a little bit more, but it keeps creeping into your brain, right? But you're pulled back by that fear and that logic. That's what it is. It's because that outside influence from family and friends who don't necessarily maybe get what an online business is, other entrepreneurs, for instance, who are loyal to certain formulas of what a business looks like, or industry narrative, maybe that they say this is the right way to do it, and you've got a different idea. You have this amazing idea and it's different. It's not bad, but everyone's telling you it's bad, including sometimes the outside voices who get inside, because we have our own conditioning from jobs and school and just culture in general. And we have fear of being seen as unprofessional or flaky or risky or whatever, because we're doing something different from someone else. Self-doubt, when something doesn't match an original plan, just creeps up inside of us and breaks down that great idea turned bad in our mind because somebody said, I think that's a bad idea, be it from the outside influence or yourself, just being conditioned from the outside influences. And then once you do decide to just jump in and take that bad idea and go for it, like you're just like, I am going all in. I'm going to just do my bad idea. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to do this online. It's going to be so amazing. And I cannot wait to do it. Even though the world's telling me it's a bad idea. I'm chasing my bad idea. I am chasing that bad idea. And then you get inside of it and you're like, oh no, what the hell am I doing? This is a bad idea. And it's because you're out there listening to a million other people tell you what a good idea is, and it doesn't necessarily fit into your brain, into your mold, into the way that you think it could be done or should be done. So you get out there and you start listening to a bunch of gurus and coaches that are telling you this one way or their method or this one thing. If you change it, will change everything in your business. And you're hearing all these noises from all these places and you're like, okay, first of all, which one's right? Which one do I follow? And you start following several, and then your brain gets all jumbled up because you're like, well, everyone says their way is the only way. Their way is the good idea. And you're not listening to yourself anymore. And you start to lose gumption for this terrible idea you had that you're going to make come true because there's too many voices in your head telling you how to do it. And you stopped listening to your own. Something that I prioritize with any of my clients is making sure that I get into their brain and understanding a few really key things. One is what lights them up. What lights you up? What gives you energy? What feeds you energy? So that we can understand the direction to take your business. We want to make sure we're feeding your energy as often as possible because the behind the scenes of business can be very draining at times. So we need to make sure it's worth it. So I always make sure that I'm checking in and seeing where's your energy coming from? What lights you up? How are we feeding your energy in this bad idea that you are bringing to fruition right now? The next thing is understanding the time around what you have to dedicate to this and the mental capacity. It's not just physical hours, it's the mental capacity as well, because we also have to understand we have a limit there, and that is just the way it is. And we have to honor those things. And I also like to look at what your long-term goal is. So if I can look at those three things, what feeds you energy, what kind of time and mental capacity do you have, and also where are you going, then I can take this bad idea with you and we can turn it into something that's going to be sustainable. That's a really big part of this. When you're looking at other coaches, they're showing you something that works for someone, for them, for probably many others. But when you try to put your brain around it, it doesn't work for you. And then you start to feel like a failure because it didn't work. It's not supposed to. You need to look inside at all of these different elements to make this bad idea sustainable. That's the other part of it. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea if you love it and we can make it sustainable and make you make money. And that's my goal in anything that I work with anybody on are those things. And you just have to look at it differently. You've got to stop looking at everybody's example and thinking that you fit into that. So some examples of maybe some quote unquote bad ideas that will work is maybe a low ticket offer instead of chasing a high ticket offer. A lot of people come in and say, you need to charge what you're worth, and you do, and you should. But that's not necessarily the only thing you're looking at, right? Somebody comes in and says, you need to start coming in here with this high ticket offer and just sign on one person or sign on two people and you'll change your life. And they're not wrong. They're not wrong. But does that work for you? Does that feed your energy? Does having a high ticket offer where you have to put a lot of your high energy into it in order for it to be this worthwhile high ticket offer for other people? Or do you need to spread your energy out a different way and maybe have a low ticket membership instead? None of those are wrong. Either one of those answers are wrong. But if you're not looking at your idea and thinking, which one feeds my energy more? Which one do I have the mental capacity and time for? Then we're not going to see the bad idea come to fruition. The next thing is you've got to build this giant freaking audience in order to launch anything or have any success. You do? Have you seen my follower count? I had an Instagram account that was doing rather well and it got deleted for some reason. Either somebody got all cranky at me for some reason and I got reported, or I said some magic combination of words that triggered the algorithm gods to say, not that, not her, not anymore. And they took me down. I've had to start over, and it has been slow because when I first started building an Instagram account, it was when it was a little easier and I had more time to actually dedicate to building up my Instagram following. Now I have less time because I've got my clients in my business that I'm running. Also, it's a different world from when I started that account many years ago. It's just different. And so I haven't dedicated the time to start to grow it. And I can guarantee you this, I still have a successful business. So if someone's telling you need to do that, it's not necessarily correct. And it's okay to not listen to it. Another really bad idea that I love so much is building in rest to your business before you think you've earned it. You don't earn rest. You need rest. You need it, my friend. So don't burn yourself to the ground building something that's going to completely destroy you and then get rest. We build rest in. We honor our energy and our time and our mental capacity here. That's just what we do because that's a terrible idea, right? And that we do that here. We do bad ideas here. Another thing we can do that's a really bad idea is maybe offer a service in a format that's not necessarily scalable, but it is perfect for you right now because it honors your time and your energy and your mental capacity. Maybe a membership is too much right now. Maybe bringing new people into that membership is just a little too much for you right now. And scaling any product whatsoever is just not in the cards. You don't have to. You can build something else. You can build whatever works for you and is sustainable. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. And it totally works. I've touched on this with every single bad idea we've talked about today, but the reason that these absolutely work, the bad ideas absolutely work, is because they're aligned with your energy, your values, and your strengths. And they're giving you more freedom instead of locking you into someone else's system. When you're allowing your brain to function the way that it functions best, and you are giving yourself the space to do that with some support and guidance, because sometimes doing that on our own is scary, right? With some support and guidance to guide you towards the thing that honors your, is aligned with your energy and honors your values and your strengths and your time and all of those things, You're allowing yourself a freedom in this business that's going to make it sustainable. All of these are sustainable ideas that are going to make you money long term when you honor the things that matter the most. Another really bad idea that I love is trusting yourself even when you can't prove the idea is going to work yet. Love that bad idea. It looks really good on you. You just need to give yourself the permission to try, not give yourself so much pressure with that permission to be perfect immediately. Just give it a go. Give it a go. There are so many things out there too. I think sometimes when we're looking out into what's possible within the online business world, we see specific frameworks, we see specific ways to do things, like I've mentioned before, and we think, well, we're never going to fit into that mold. No, you're going to try not to fit into the mold. That's a terrible idea. It's the best terrible idea ever. Try and honor all of the things that matter, and you're going to be just fine. We're going to be able to create a business. It is so possible to create a business that honors all of those things, because your business gets stronger every time that you choose self-alignment over approval of somebody else's method. If you're out here trying to prove your coach's method works, but you're fighting your internal being every single time you do it, no, your business is not going to feel stronger. It's going to feel harder. I want you to think about one idea that you've had that you've dismissed as a bad idea. And I want you to really think about that idea and who decided that it was bad. If it was you, we can kind of look into why. Is it societal pressure? Is it a societal norm? Was it outside influences that made you feel like it was a bad idea? Just think about it. And I think understanding that perspective is really helpful so that you can start to follow those bad ideas in the future, or maybe bring one of those bad ideas back from the past and pull it up and start to make it happen. I want you to think about that bad idea too and ask yourself, like, does it feel exciting when I think about it? Maybe it still feels like a bad idea, but is it kind of exciting? Does it align with your values? Could it maybe work? I think it would be a really good idea to start giving those bad ideas some space in your brain this week. Pay attention to how it feels when you think about that bad idea. Pay attention to what happens to your energy. And I don't mean like, does it drain your life force, but like your energy, your joy, the spark. What happens? And don't worry about those outside opinions right now. And if you see them creeping in, I always like to tell my friends, or anyone who will listen to me, that when my brain does that to me, even outside influence or even something inside my brain that comes up and kind of makes me feel like I need to squash something that's happening, I always imagine myself physically walking up to whatever that is, shaking its hand, thanking it for trying to protect me and keep me safe, and say, but I'm good and I'm going to do it anyway. So go ahead and do that to those outside opinions and societal pressures and things like that. When you find that bad idea that lights you up from the inside, even if it's just a single spark for a single second, give it some attention. Pay attention to why you feel like it's a bad idea. It's okay. Maybe it still will feel like a bad idea, and that's okay too, but I have a feeling that won't be the case. Thanks for hanging out with me on Happy Money and Other Bad Ideas. If you're ready to bring your own so-called bad ideas to life and build a business that actually feels good, I'd love to help you inside the Spicy Brain Business Lab. Inside, you'll get the strategy, the systems, and support to turn your rebel ideas into sustainable, profitable reality without all the hustle. Come and join us. The link is in the show notes, and let's make some happy money together. I'll see you next week, and until then, keep breaking the rules that need to be broken.